Welcome to the Bruni English Method. Today we're going to talk about an advanced class that discusses different tense usage. We're going to talk about simple present and we're going to discuss complete and incomplete actions. We're going to talk about simple past and also we're going to discuss the complete and incomplete actions that take place. We're going to use subordinate clauses which are useful in the tense usage. We're also going to talk about perfect tenses, which are past, present, complete and incomplete actions, and we're going to talk about future tense. So we're going to begin with present tense. Look at these two examples. I eat breakfast at 7. This is a complete action or habitual because it's something that I do every day. Whereas I can say she was taking a shower in the morning, and this is an incomplete action because she might still be taking a shower when I'm saying this. So that's the difference between these two sentences, and that's what we have to think about when we speak or write. This is another example of present tense. I can say she lives in Rome. This is also a complete or habitual situation. Whereas I can say she's walking down the street, and it means that she might still be walking down the street. So it's an incomplete situation that I still need to make sure that it ended or not. Okay, we're going to talk about past tense now. Look at these two examples. He walked in the snow. So in this case, it's a situation that already happened. That is not happening still, but happened in the past, and that's it. And the other one is they were traveling Europe at that time, which is incomplete because they could still be traveling Europe. I mean, it's not something that has finished. So it's very similar to present tense, and it's something that we have to make sure we understand when we're talking about this. These are two other examples. Look at the people in the restaurant. We can say they had dinner at 6 p.m., which is something that happened and finished. It's done. Whereas I can say they were having dinner when the storm hit. In this case, we're going to begin using these subordinating conjunctions or clauses, which help us structure the sentences that we're using. So when they were having dinner, the storm hit. So it's two situations that are happening at the same time. And the last one is when the snow began, they finished dinner. And in this case, the action is done and they are not having dinner anymore when the snow began. So that's the difference because in the second one, they were having dinner when the storm hit. It means that the storm began and they were still having dinner. In the other sentence, the snow began to fall and they finished dinner. So it's just a way to understand when to use which structure. Okay, and we're going to talk about subordinating clauses besides when, before, or after. We can also use while, although, and as. So I can say, while they were playing, I finished working. So it's also a situation that finished, it's done, and happened when they were playing or while they were playing. Although they were having fun, we needed to go. So it's something that we needed to do and that happened in the past, and even when they were having fun. And the last one is as I was arriving in the park, Jim fell on the floor. So it's a situation that was taking place at the same time that Jim fell on the floor, which is a finished business. So it's a finished business close to a situation that was still taking place. Okay, perfect tenses. Now we're going to talk about present perfect and past perfect. So for present perfect, we use have and has. And look at the two examples. We have visited 2 countries this year. This is a complete situation because it means that they already happened. It began and ended at some point. We have been driving for hours. This is incomplete because we are still driving. Okay, and past perfect, we use had. And the 2 examples would be, they had paid for dinner. So this is a complete sentence. This is something that happened in the past and is already gone. It ended. And the second one is, I had been exercising all night. And maybe I can talk about yesterday or day before, and it means that I had been doing that for hours and it didn't end at that time. Okay, let's see these examples. They have seated on the bale for 2 hours. And we can also say they had seated on the bale for 2 hours. This is present perfect, and the second one is past perfect. So if I want to use present perfect, it's something that is happening in a close time to now. Because if I use past perfect and I say they had seated on the bale for 2 hours, I'm probably talking about yesterday or something a little farther than the close time. Because if I use present perfect, I have to be talking about today or maximum yesterday. And past perfect is for things that happened long ago. Okay, let's see some other examples using past perfect and subordinate clauses. They had seated on the bale for 2 hours before I picked them up. But this is something that happened yesterday or last week, last month. This is not something that is happening today. Okay, so that's the difference between present perfect and past perfect. Second example, they had told spooky stories at the barn until they decided they didn't want to anymore. And this is something also that happened in the past. So I'm talking about something that happened before and another action that happened even more before that. I mean, for example, they decided that they didn't want to tell spooky stories yesterday, and they had begun telling spooky stories maybe 2 days before yesterday. So that's the difference, all right? And they ran in the field before we left. So, and this is simple past using a subordinate clause. So it's a little simpler. They ran in the field, a complete action, a finished business before we left. And it's also a finished business. So you can choose what you're going to say. And the more carefully that you choose, the better the people are going to understand you. Okay, future tense. Future tense and future perfect tense. We can use will, shall, and going to. And future, if we use future and we use going to, it means that we have a specific intention or a plan to do something. That's what going to is used for. And we have to distinguish between future tense, which is something that is going to happen in the future, and future perfect tense, which is used to talk about an action that that is going to take place in the future, but I'm trying to make sure that you know it, or it's something that it's that I'm sure it's going to happen, but I'm talking about the future. So it's like, I think you will have to do something, this specific action, and you may do it or you might not. It depends. But okay, let's see this example. This is future tense, simple future tense. I will arrive tomorrow, which is complete. I shall be joining you for dinner, which is incomplete. Every time we use with ing, the verb with ing is usually incomplete. It's something that is still taking place, because I can say I shall join you for dinner at 6 p.m. sharp. But if I say I shall be joining you for dinner, it means that I have other things to do and that I'm not sure if I'm at what time I'm going to get there. and if I'm gonna get there. And the last one is I will be shopping at the mall, which is incomplete because I will still be shopping at the mall maybe when you arrive or before you had left, etc. So it just depends. It depends on the context and the way you want to do that. Okay, let's see another example. And with future perfect tense. And the future perfect is the action is ongoing or shall or will be followed by have been and a present participle. For example, he will have eaten on time, or he shall have begun his nap. It's a sentence that I'm trying to say because I am certain that it's going to happen in the future. It's not happening in the present, but it's going to happen in the future. So it's a useful tense to use when you want to acknowledge something, or you want to make sure that the other person feels maybe relaxed, that something is really going to be accomplished. So maybe that's the difference between simple present and future perfect tense, because you are emphasizing on something that you know it's going to happen, but in the future, that it hasn't happened yet, not in the present or in the past, but it's going to happen in the future. Okay, let's see the last example using future perfect tense, and in this case we're going to use a progressive form, which means that the action is ongoing or incomplete. So in this case we say they shall have been getting to school by now. I'm not sure, but this is what should happen. It's the same way as using should or could instead of will or shall, because in this case I'm not sure, but I can use shall or will if I use the future perfect tense. I hope you can tell the difference, because these two sentences will be correct. I can say they could be getting to school by now, or they should be getting to school by now, or I can say they shall have been getting to school by now. That's the two of them mean basically the same. And the other example is they will have been learning English by the end of the year. It's something that I am certain of, but in this case, since I'm using the progressive tense, it's an incomplete action, and I'm not exactly sure or 100% sure that it's gonna take place. So I hope you enjoyed this advanced class, and feel free to watch the video as many times as you need, and it helps you practice, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.